G'day mate, welcome back to Factorio with me, Jetty, and today in episode 23 we're going to talk about uranium. And we're going to probably spend like 2, maybe 3 episodes just covering uranium. It's a fairly in-depth topic, so I sort of want to cover it in one hit if we can. We're probably not going to. But today we're talking about uranium. So with that said, let's run the intro. So, before we get started on the uranium, we're going to cover, we're fully defended, we have a little corner to play with, so we're going to be playing with uranium. I've built the train tracks out, obviously. We have a little resupply train that I brought with me, that I just hand-loaded everything in the back wagon and dragged all the way out here. And first things first, hopefully I got a blueprint ready. I do. It's like I pre-plan things. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to dump down some miners. Now, you might see these miners are a little bit different to your traditional miners. Reason for that is they actually need a liquid input, because to mine uranium, you need to have 1 sulfuric acid per mining operation over on the right-hand side. It tells you that. So I need to get sulfuric acid out here, and I need to plug it into these miners. And I need another row of miners. Yep, right there. I need to plug it into these miners. I need to... Well, those are going to take a while to deliver. I need to plug it into these miners. I need to have each of these miners get filled with sulfuric acid. And then, of course, they're going to bring the ore out. And then we need to do something with the ore. So, first things first. We're going to pretend, because that's the stage we're at. We're at the stage of pretending. We're going to pretend that we're going to plug sulfuric acid into these miners. So I want to actually hook up... do we go get the acid? Maybe we go get the acid. Actually, no. You know what? We're going to treat this like any normal ore, because at the end of the day, for part of this process at least, it is like any normal ore. That is 5 belts tall, so we're going to run that belt in there with a splitter. You don't want to put a splitter in front of a miner. Bad idea. I can't remember why it's a bad idea, but I do remember it's a bad idea. And then we're going to put in... Okay, we're going to put in a unload station, or a load station rather, which is going to come up like so. Yeah. And then loop back on itself. Go around the roboport, because there's always a roboport or a power pole in the way. And it needs to link into the bottom track. So we'll just link it in the bottom track. Okay. Which means we need to signal some tracks again. Again, we put a chain signal in front of an intersection, a chain signal in front of an intersection, and a full signal after an intersection. This is a merge. It's not an intersection, so it's fine. At the same time, I didn't really cover it because I did cover it in the train tutorial video. But as you can see, I've got this pink line here. So this is a block. So it means if I have a train anywhere on this pink line, that's all one section. If I put another line here, we can see this pink line gets converted to a yellow line. So if I had a train here, yeah, we can see that one turns red. That one, I'd have to hover my mouse over it so we can see it, is actually green. So you can cut up, you can cut up your train segments into sections like this and have like trains really close to one another. Really close to one another. It's not worth it, honestly. Mojo's track system, as you can see, has a gap of 4, so that's 4 trains, 4 locomotives, 4 whatever it happens to be between one and the other, and you know that works fine. But maybe I'm getting sidetracked already. Okay. We're just gonna try and line this up with the rail ghost planner thing. Put that in there, put that in there. That's not enough room. That's not enough room. Try again. That goes away, that goes away, that goes away. That goes away, that goes away. Alright. Plan B, we'll work in reverse. Okay, so I want a 4-to-4 balancer. No, because that's red belt already. So we're going to have you 2 lanes merge up. You two lanes merge up, and then we're gonna put in our balancer, because I do want the lanes somewhat balanced before they're loaded into a train. So you go straight in there, you come into there, you go to here. Done. Alright, next thing's next. We need to plug these belts through the middle. Okay. Lastly, we need tracks. Tracks. Okay, tracks and a loading station. Now, all our previous trains have been a 1-2-1. It's normally how they're counted. So 1 locomotive, 2 wagons, 1 locomotive. Uranium, I'd like to have a slightly different style train. So we're going to plan on like a 1-3-1. Yeah, I like a 1-3-1. I like a 1-3-1. We're going to go with a 1-3-1. So around about here, I want a train station. We want a locomotive. We want 1-2. We'll get to everything else in a second. I can go to here. Nope. And copy and paste that. I do recommend, like, whenever you've built something once and you can copy and paste it, copy and paste it. Okay? It's going to save you so much time in the end. We're going to set you to yellow belt, you to yellow belt, which means I can actually remove that and bring it up to here by doing what we did before and literally moving the splitter from rather than being here at the end to over there, which means that belt can come out and that belt can come out. It looks stupid, it looks weird, but it's technically the exact same thing and it still works. So then we've got to bring that train track down to, that's 1 train track, nope, 2 train tracks, too many. The main line. And do I have fuel? I have some fuel. And then we're going to loop this back around through the power poles and back onto the main line. We're going to put in those chain signals we spoke about earlier. They're really the only 2 chain signals I need. I need this one to read that signal, and I need this one to read this signal. And I just want to make sure that I don't have any trains accidentally parking across the main line, you know, this intersection, and causing a deadlock. But I am going to put a signal, again, back to the rail signal conversation I was having a second ago with our pretty lines. We can see, oh, this is one giant blue loop, which means if I have any train in this blue section, no other train can exist in that blue section. That's a bit of a problem. If I put a signal there, this train and this train are now in 2 separate sections. If I put another signal here, I'm going to have a train here, a train in this blue section, a train in the yellow section. If I put another signal actually in front of the train station, normally is always a good spot, and I'm just running out of train signals. We now have a purple, we have a yellow, we have a blue, and I'd like one about there and one about there. Yep, that'll do us. Okie dokie. Power poles. There to, you know what? There and there. Okay, so we have miners. They technically have power, but they don't have sulfuric acid. So they're not going to run until I find them some sulfuric acid. We need to find them some sulfuric acid. The way we're going to do that is we're going to go back to base, actually. Okay, so we're going to call you Glowing Rocks 1. Because I don't like typing uranium. And the little pretty rocks, they glow. So let's go with Glowing Rocks 1. We're going to set that train to go to Glowing Rocks 1 after I tell it to move forward. So it's out of the train station. And then it's going to wait 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, I count faster than you can count. And then it's going to go all the way up to oil drop-off, loop back around, and come back up to this train station, which is perfect. Because now it's cleared the way for me to go back to there. Because I have this little temporary train station that I built on here that so doesn't exist. And it's my little temporary station where I can temporarily park a train and I can temporarily build things. So that train's going to loop up. It's going to come all the way back. I'm going to go park in here after that train track's built. I can't see the bots on this view. There you go. I learned something new. Come on, I need this little bit. There we go. Oh, so I told my train to loop all the way around, and this oil train is trying to unload ever so horribly, and can't go anywhere. Okay, so then you can get through, and then my little train can go up, park in its little special section. So, uranium. I normally recommend, and I'm going to give you a couple of options when it comes to uranium. Okay, uranium is not a traditional ore. Okay, uranium needs to be processed, same as like iron ore does, I guess, and copper. They need to be processed. In the case of your iron, your copper, you smelt it. It's pretty plain, it's pretty simple, it's pretty boring. In the case of your uranium, you process it in a centrifuge. So a whole new building, but it lets you turn your uranium ore into either your uranium-235 or your uranium-238. Okay, you actually process it. Which means you have two options. One, this is one of those times I'd actually consider recommending processing it on site. Because, actually, if I put... Where is that? I put that down. This takes in 10 uranium ore and gives you back one of those two parts. So, with your other ores that, you know, you load into a train, if we hover over this train, it's got 2,000 ore in it. Actually, let's go say hello to that train. Run faster, JD. Run faster. So, this stores 50 ore per slot. Okay? Now, with uranium, that'd still be 50 ore per slot. But, I could process that 50 ore and get the equivalent of a plate. And plate stacks in 100. So, I could actually process it on site, bring it back to base, and it would be a much more denser material. So it is one of the things, it's up to you, you can always process it on site. I sort of recommend processing it on site. I have actually pre-recorded prior to 1.0 and everything coming out. Actually, probably about 2 months prior to 1.0 coming out, and then Factorio went through a massive graphics overhaul when I'd recorded the video 2 days earlier. So that video never got released and it has to be re-recorded, but I do sort of recommend that uranium you process on site, and I actually had a video that covered that, but we're not going to be doing that in this video. So, uranium, I sort of recommend processing on site. On top of that, it needs sulfuric acid, this stuff right here, okay, which is part of your oil section. On top of that, you're going to need some room to process this stuff. So, uranium is one of those ones I recommend you don't bring into your main base, into your main unloading station. You build a separate unloading station somewhere near your oil build, because it needs parts from your oil build, being the sulfuric acid, and then you process you unload your trains in this location. At the same time, you say goodbye to all the cliffs. That didn't work. At the same time, you unload it and you process it, basically down here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with another train. Sure. Hang on. You're the entry. So I want off that side of the tracks. We're going to... Ooh. Live jetty demonstrations. Signals. This is blue. This is purple. Okay? This is one rail segment. This is a different rail segment separated by train signals. When I move that across there, ignoring the change of colors, it's now one giant rail segment. So if I have any trains in any of these spots, including off to the side where he shouldn't block anything, you'll notice this signal turned red and this signal turned red. Nothing else can come through here. So this is why we have chain signals and full signals and all those sorts of fun things. We're gonna go underground. Okay, I went way too low with that one. I missed it a second time. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, and where are my upload station? Go away. Sure. Is that right? Can you stop assaulting my bots, please? Really? They still took out a laser. Okay, have more lasers. Okay. That goes to there, that goes to there. Okay. As you can see, we've got an unhappy signal. Chain signals. Everywhere. Unhappy signal fixed. Actually, you're meant to be a full signal. Okay. So this will give us room for an unload station. We want a train station. But the biggest thing is, if you remember, we have to mine uranium, I need to get sulfuric acid over here. So, I need to put down a unloading... Hang on, I've got one of those I can copy. An unloading station, which looks a little bit like that. That's the easy part done. The hard part is behind that, I'm going to need a fluid wagon. It's going to look like that. It's going to need a pump to pump the fluid in. Large power pole there and there. And helps if the power pole's arrived. Which is going to need sulfuric acid. So what I want to do, and we remember this from our oil loading and unloading, is I want a tank down here, because this pump will pump in basically a whole tank's worth just about instantly. Next thing I'm going to need is I'm going to need sulfuric acid. So we're going to have to wander over to our oil, find our sulfuric acid pipe, which is this one. And if I bring it down and across, sure. I'd like to tee off right there, please. Is that... No, one more. Okay, so that should dodge anything I build inside the oil zone. And we'll bring this across the bottom of the oil and the top of where we're going to do our uranium processing. And... can I have... good things to mark down to draw straight lines? I like train signals. Train signals are awesome. Because they only attach to train tracks, not to anything else, which means you can throw them down the middle of your base, and pretty much if you see a train signal in the middle of your bus, you can go, it's probably in the wrong place. Okay, so that's going to give us a tank which won't hook up to a train because the train doesn't actually exist. The train's not at a station because it's just a single wagon. But yes, we're going to put a pump there. A sulfuric acid tank there. We can call you shiny. No, glowing rocks unload. Like I said, I don't like typing the word uranium. So, carbon unload station. I want you to stay there and don't move away. So, got a couple of options for this. You can go for item count. And no cargo is less than 0. Pretty much going to break the train. Another one you can do is fluid count. Random fluid is less than 0. Probably also going to break the train and stop it from running away. You can do passenger present, passenger not present. which is one of my favorites. Click the and button. The passenger has to be present and not present at the same time. Train is never going to have those conditions being met and be able to run away. The other one that's really, really common is a circuit condition of blank is less than 0. Really? Blank is less than 0, which would also break the train and make it not allowed to run away. And it just ran away on me. Because I was tweaking with the conditions. Okay, we need to... Actually, can I have that? Can I have the other side of that unloading station, please? Yeah, so I've decided if you're going to go, you might as well go big. Okay. Can I get an underground? I don't think I can get an underground under the train station. No, I can't. Okay, so we're going to have 1 underground, 2 undergrounds. We're going to bring this belt out and into here. This is probably too much unloading for this one poor train. But that's okay. I'm planning on sending him an army of friends to help him. So, splitters. Our balancer. Okay, stock standard balancer. We have 1 splitter, 2 splitter, 3 splitter, 4 splitter, which are actually being turned into single belts. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to probably do that. Have that run into there. I'm going to call that splitter. Then you'd have to be a tile forward. I have to be 2 tiles forward, actually, for me to get the belts. Can I do that instead? No. Yes. I'm just building the weirdest balancer in the world. Don't mind me. That didn't really save me any space. It was worth a shot. And that's completely off. Thanks autosave. We'll dump that there. We'll dump that there. We'll dump that there. Alright. Balancer. Balanced. Okay. So, as I was saying, sulfuric acid in a tank. Next thing I want to do is I want to put a fluid wagon so we can pump the fluid into this tank. Now, because back here, as part of my oil build, I set this tank to only fill up to 5,000 sulfuric acid. Because if you've ever done any sort of plumbing in your life or anything like that, you know all liquids balance. So it means this tank also only had 5,000 acid in it. And once it got 5,000 and once this got 5,000, because they're both level, the acid build stopped making acid. Problem is, I want this one full. I want this one full, so when this train fills up, it can get the whole 25,000 out of this tank straight into the fluid wagon. So to do that, we're going to create some. We're going to create an imbalance by pumping out of the main line, which will only have 5,000 sulfuric acid into it, into this tank, which we can fill all the way up. Actually, can I put you? I can. That is way neater. There we go. I'm impressed with myself already. So we can pump it into this tank. So therefore we can fill this tank all the way up to 25,000 and have the main line only have 5,000 in it. And then when this train shows up, it can dump all the acid into this tank. It can go out to the outpost. It can do things at the outpost, bring it back, so on and so forth, and be ready to go again. So hope any of that made sense. So we're going to jump back in our train. We're going to go back to glowing rocks. We're going to say circuit condition. Yes. And did I put down? No, I didn't put down any signals. So whilst we've been in this station, that train's been stuck there, unable to move. So we need to break up this train track by putting one there, And one there. And we'll put one there. And we'll put one there. Okay. So, going to come back to Outpost. And we're going to load up some... Well, we're going to start mining some acid. Because now we have... mining some uranium. Because now we have some shiny rocks. We actually have some sulfuric acid. So now I need to show you guys how to get this end of the build running. Okay? We've got ore. Ore's going to go on belts. That's easy part. Belt's going to load it into train. Easy part. Getting sulfuric acid into these. A little bit more difficult. So, first things first. Pump to unload the acid. Tank. So we've got a buffer of acid right here. Okay. Next thing I need to do is I need to take some pipe. And I need to pipe it from one to the other. Can we get you to move to that side? Plug that in there. And bring that to there with a couple of bits of straight pipe. These guys are going to all get acid. As soon as they get acid, they're going to start mining uranium. We have uranium on a belt. Problem is, I have a lot more miners and a lot more pipes to put in. And as you might notice that because they have inputs and outputs on both the left and the right side, along with the back, they pass acid from miner to miner to miner to miner. So, next thing we want to do, put an acid pipe here to join this group with this group. Then I want to join this group on this side of the belt with that group on that side of the belt. I'm just going to run a pipe along the outside, or along the rear of the build, because there's nothing back here. There's nothing on the right-hand side to stop me running pipes. Again, I'm going to join this build to this build with just a pipe between that whole row and that whole row. Same story again. Another pipe, join it into the next row. Another pipe to join it into the one behind it. You can see these little tanks on the side. These little tanks on the side. Wait for it. Wait for it. They're full. Okay, another little tank here. We're going to join this tank to this tank. Doop. Next row. Done. Do we have a back row? No, we don't have a back row. They're all running. They're all running. They're all out. Oh, no, I missed some. They're now all running. We now have uranium ore on a train. Okay, we have acid being unloaded off a train. It does mean at this end, if I went to Glowing Rocks and I said full cargo, it's going to have a problem. This we want full. We want this one full of uranium ore. We want this one full of uranium ore. We actually want this fluid tank to be empty. So a condition of full cargo inventory is not going to work for us. We can add like fluid count. We could say acid to be equal to... No. Get back here, train. Bad train, bad train. Okay, we can set fluid condition to be acid equals 0. The problem is that after we first fill this system, there's going to be a lot of circumstances where this storage tank gets filled up with acid. Therefore, this fluid wagon is also going to be full of acid. Therefore, that we're always going to have acid in the tank. Therefore, the tank's never going to be empty. Okay, so we can't use a fluid of acid equals 0. What we can use is we can use an item count of uranium ore. If we go to this, we can see that this is going to hold, well, if I hover my mouse over, it's 1.8k, 1.9k. Give it a second, it'll say 2k. Okay, so I can say, hey, I want you to hold 2k in this wagon, plus 2k in this wagon. This one's slightly behind for some reason. So 2k and 2k meaning 4k. So if you equal 4,000 uranium ore, and I don't care about the fluid, actually. If the fluid is partly full, partly empty, partly anything, all suits me entirely. I just care that you have 4,000 uranium ore on you. You are good to go. And then we're going to go to Glowing Rocks Unload, which we will cover in the next episode. Because there is no way I'm going to be able to do all of that in a reasonable amount of time. So, with that said, we're going to leave the episode here. We are slowly trudging our way through the research. We're actually down to bless all research left. In fact, if I was to do that research first, well, that research, we can unlock the rocket silo, we could finish the game. So you can actually finish the game without nuclear power. You can finish the game without playing with uranium at all. But we want to play with uranium because I want to show you guys nuclear power plants. I wouldn't mind showing you guys some of the uranium ammo. It's basically a bigger damage. And it's actually designed as a uranium sink because you're going to find out there's certain byproducts when it comes to your uranium and you need somewhere to put it. So, yeah, it ends up going basically into one of the uranium sinks being ammo. But yeah, with all that said, this is where I'm going to leave today's episode. Tomorrow we will come back and we'll start actually processing our uranium because you're empty. You can actually bugger off and go get us more uranium. Actually, we'll cover that really quickly. The only thing you care about when it comes to this one is item count. Or, can I get an and, please? Thank you. Equals 0. At the same time, you want to do a fluid count of acid. And I like greater than 24,000 with an AND condition. So it has to have 0 uranium ore on it and it has to have more than 24,000 acid on it because it holds 25,000 acid, but that is generally good enough. If I actually click on that, we should be able to, if it ran out of fuel. Oh, they loaded 100 wood in there. Where'd you coast along to? You can see train ran out of fuel. I can actually click this and go, hey, there's where my train is. Nice little feature they added just prior to 1.0 actually. You had 23,000 acid. Good enough. Close enough. Because actually we should cover this. There is how much acid over here still? It's almost run dry. Okay. You can have fuel. It's off and racing. We're going to leave this episode here. Like I said, we're going to come back next episode. We'll do our uranium processing in the next episode. And we'll probably step through all the different parts of uranium processing all in one episode if I can time it. I think we got all the research, so we should be able to do it. Anyway, with all that said, this is where I'm going to leave today's episode. If you're curious, you've got any questions, anything I didn't cover well enough, especially when it comes to like trains. I know a lot of people have issues with trains, and I know by probably watching the small clips I've done without watching the full tutorial video, I probably have helped somewhat, but you're probably still confused at the same time. By all means, jump on our Discord, ask your questions there. We have many helpful engineers, always happy to give you a hand. At the same time, we also have, well, myself, super experienced, but we also have a bunch of new players that have come along and are asking questions. And you'd be surprised. Some of the new players are picking up stuff fairly quickly and they're able to help out other new players. At the same time, we do a whole bunch of open community things. So if you want to join multiplayer or you just want to watch some of the chaos, again, jump in our Discord. That's where you find out all the information. With all that said, I'm going to leave this episode here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you're enjoying. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode where we cover uranium processing. All right, that's it. I'm out. Bye.